Please stand for the singing of our national anthem, which will be led by Sherry Feldman, a graduate of Delaware's Masters in Vocal Performance program.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we held at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we walked were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free, at the home of the brave?
Please be seated. I promise I won't sing. Not like that. Another round of applause. Well, good evening. I'm Pat Harker, president of the University of Delaware, and it's my privilege to welcome you to our 2013 Doctoral Hooding and Convocation. One of the best things about being asked to open this ceremony is that perhaps I'm the first to call you by the honorific to which you've dedicated so many years of your life. Here it comes. And I hope it's everything you've always imagined. Congratulations, doctors. Now, just so you know, this ceremony is being posted on YouTube, so you're free to keep replaying that line as much as you want. I hope today that you look back on your journey, the journey that's brought you here, the peaks and the valleys, and you think only about how it was worth it, how all the hard work was worth it. I hope you sustain the lifelong friendships formed in this crucible of doctoral study. I hope you let your advisors and mentors know exactly how much their guidance and support have meant to you. Most of all, I really hope you get some rest. You deserve it. Tonight, you're being admitted into a very small fraternity. You're joining the 1%, not the 1% of the wealthiest Americans, but the most highly educated. I say that's wealth enough, but maybe I should wait until you've paid off your student loans before I say that. It's because you're being inducted into such a small group that we ask so much of you. You're carrying the mantle of academic leadership now, and I think we've tasked you with this leadership at a unique time. The landscape of higher education is changing. New education models are emerging, new technologies are upending the traditional academic format. And in this landscape of change is opportunity. Whenever bedrock institutions are challenged, it gives us a chance to innovate, a chance to take our work apart, to examine how we get from what we get and how we get it, and how we do it, and what we want to do. It also gives us an opportunity to consider and articulate our most deeply held values, and to publicly rededicate ourselves to upholding them. And this is enormously important, because it's not just processes or models that are being challenged. Over the last couple of years, we've seen states and universities across the country grappling with the fundamental mission of higher education. Some would have the market alone dictate the courses we teach and determine the value of those teaching them. Some advocate separating teaching and research, as though one doesn't immeasurably enhance the other. And so we have this opportunity now. You have this opportunity to say what this academic life you've chosen means to you. and what you hope it will mean for the countless people and families and communities you'll affect. Let me start. I believe in a broad and liberal education. I believe an admirable endgame is the cultivation of the mind and the pursuit of knowledge. I believe in the power and the beauty of ideas, that intellectualism is something to strive for, not something to mock. Of course, I know your scholarship has significant material effects. I know it will have an impact. It will have an impact on people's health and happiness, on cultural understanding and community cohesion, on world peace and security, on global sustainability. But it has a transcendent effect too. Your work will help us test the world around us, find its limitations and its possibilities. It will shrink the unknown, diminish the untried, and expand our human capacity, not just for knowledge and technique, but for care and consideration and compassion. Your work will contribute to a richer intellectual life where questions are welcomed and curiosity rewarded, where an open, vigorous mind is valued above all else. And if that isn't enough, the knowledge you're creating today provides the scaffolding for tomorrow's scholarship, inspiring a whole new generation of thinkers and creators, yielding solutions to problems we once considered impossibly dense. We can't even comprehend its scope and implications, because the accumulation of small discoveries and incremental breakthroughs, of nuance and refinement, can absolutely recast what we believe and what we believe is possible. I think that's the legacy of your scholarship. And so I thank you for heeding the call to discovery, to disciplined thought and rigorous research. I thank you for your passion and perseverance, two attributes that are admirable in any pursuit, but ones that are absolutely indispensable in this one. And I thank you for assuming this mantle of academic leadership when we need your leadership now more than ever before. I want to thank some other people here today as well. Your teachers, mentors, advisors, and colleagues are in no small way responsible for this degree. It was their expertise, encouragement, and advice that helped you set your path and surmount the obstacles. This degree is a little bit theirs too, and I know you're in their debt. Don't worry, they know it too. Could we acknowledge the faculty and colleagues who've played such a big part in this achievement? Let's give your faculty a round of applause. You know it, your friends and family have been in this with you from the beginning. They made their own promises to you when you began this long journey to be present and steadfast and supportive, to encourage you and love you through it all. Your anxiety, I think you probably had a little, wasn't yours alone. Your sleepless nights were theirs too. So I think your families and friends deserve our recognition for staying strong and making it out the other end, side by side with you. I'll close with what I ask every class of doctoral candidates. I ask you to be leaders and scholars. Be the leaders and scholars you've shown yourselves to be. I ask that you continue to be guided by the responsibilities your degree confers, to pursue truth and to prioritize compassion, to redefine what we prize and what we strive for, to improve the lives of others in the world in which they live, to expand the boundaries of human understanding, and to doggedly contribute to the body of knowledge that will help perfect us as a people. Congratulations.
Good evening and welcome. Dobre došel. Huan Ying. Bienvenido. Marhaba. Bienvenue. Willkommen. Swabit. Kosh Amadid. Yukoso. Dabo Pajalowitz. Hanyang. Swagata. Kua Karabisha. And Hoshgelden. Welcome. I'm Jim Richards. I'm Vice Provost of Graduate and Professional Education, and I'm pleased to join President Harker in welcoming you to the Spring 2013 Doctoral Hooding Convocation. I'd like to start by introducing the members of the platform. They are Janine Sherrier, Interim Deputy Dean. Please stand, Janine. Interim Deputy Dean for the College of Agriculture and Natural Resources. Matt Konservic, Associate Dean of the College of Arts and Sciences. Bruce Weber, Dean of the Lerner College of Business and Economics. Nancy Target, Dean of the College of Earth, Ocean, and Environment. Lynn Okagaki, Dean of the College of Education and Human Development. Babatunde Oganaki, Interim Dean of the College of Engineering. Kathy Matt, Dean of the College of Health Sciences. Charlie Reardon, Vice Provost for Research and the bearer of the mace. Mary Martin, Associate Provost of Graduate and Professional Education. And Paul Quinn, the 2013 Francis Allison Award winner. The University of Delaware is home to 52 doctoral degree programs, and 3 types of doctoral degrees are conferred: the Doctor of Philosophy, the Doctor of Education, and the Doctor of Physical Therapy. The first doctoral degree was awarded in 1948, and the graduating class consisted of 1 individual. This year, 254 students will receive doctoral degrees, and 120 of those recipients are with us today. These students represent 34 different countries and 21 U.S. states. 42 of the degree recipients are Delaware residents. This year's graduating class includes the first graduates of the Interdisciplinary Program in Disaster Science and Management and the first graduate of the Applied Physiology Program. The youngest doctoral degree recipient in this year's class is just 24 years old, and the most experienced is 66. Congratulations. Five of this year's graduates have an extra reason to celebrate this week. Please join me in wishing Nagitha Ikanayake, William Whitaker, William Rivera, David Lane, and Casey Irwin a happy birthday. Gitanjali Gira, a biomechanics and movement science major, and Neelanjan Dutta, an electrical and computer engineering major, are husband and wife. Both are receiving their doctoral degree today. And Keith Jansen will also have 2 ceremonies to attend. He is receiving a doctoral degree in biological sciences, and his wife, Iwalina, is receiving a master's degree in urban affairs and public policy. And Keith, I signed your dissertation today, all 8 signature pages. I think you wanted to make sure you had at least one that I did correctly, so it's done. To all graduates, congratulations. You've invested several years of your life, dedicated yourself to learning, met the most rigorous of academic challenges, and persevered to sit where you are today. Because of your efforts and the efforts of those who supported, educated, and challenged you throughout your time here, you are among the most educated people in the world. Some of your parents who watched you grow up as children might find that a scary thought. But those of us who had the privilege of working with you know that you are the next generation of leaders and innovators. Take that responsibility seriously. Keep learning, inspire, and support young minds. Stay tolerant, especially as the world becomes smaller, and most of all, represent yourself in a manner that honors your education. Now, it is my privilege to introduce 5 students whose doctoral dissertations have received special recognition. With the Doctoral Dissertation Award recipients in attendance and their faculty advisors, please approach the platform. The Office of Graduate and Professional Education invites each doctoral program to nominate 1 student who is completing their degree during the academic year for consideration as a Doctoral Dissertation Award recipient. A panel of faculty reviewers selects recipients, and this year 4 dissertations were selected. The first award is the Alan P. Colburn Award. The Alan P. Colburn Dissertation Prize in Engineering, come up, and Mathematical Sciences honors the man who served as chair of the Chemical Engineering Department and was acting president of the university from 1950 to 1955. This year's award goes to Amit Katavar from the Department of Mechanical Engineering, who was accompanied by his professor, is Kaushik Sarkar. You are Kaushik Sarkar. He could not make it. We can't see anything but those lights. So. Amit's dissertation work entitled Dynamics of Ultrasound Contrast Microbubbles and Therapeutic Effects on Low-Intensity Ultrasound focused on how ultrasound and microbubbles can be used in issues of human health, particularly related to bone and cancer cells. His research demonstrates how engineering principles and analysis can be used in a critical biomedical application. The findings and results from Amit's dissertation are already having a significant impact on both cardiovascular and orthopedic medicine, as he has over 95 citations referencing his work. For those of you not in this line of work, that's a lot. Amit is currently a postdoctoral fellow at the University of Texas at Austin. Please join me in congratulating Amit Kadivar, this year's Alan Colburn Dissertation Prize recipient. Dr. Kaza, would you please take this for me? The George Herbert Ryden Prize in Social Sciences recognizes the person who served as chair of the History and Political Science Department from 1923 to 1941. This year's recipient is Benjamin Banta, who is represented by Professor Alice Baugh from the Department of Political Science and International Relations. Benjamin's dissertation is titled Humanitarianism and the Western Way of War. Benjamin's research is focused on the ethics of the use of force, humanitarian interventions, and the current security dilemmas associated with policies governing the deployment of new weapons, such as drones. The dissertation makes important new contributions to just war theory, a field of investigation for 2,000 years, and is highly relevant to contemporary U.S. national security policy dilemmas concerning humanitarian interventions. Benjamin has authored numerous articles in high-profile publications, and his dissertation is expected to become a book. He is now teaching at Ohio University. His award is being accepted by Professor Alice Baugh. Please congratulate Benjamin Banta, this year's George Herbert Ryden recipient. Alice, thank you very much. The Wilbur Owen Seifert Prize in Humanities honors Dr. Seifert, former chair of the English department and university president from 1944 to 1946. Today, we recognize Jamin Wells from the Department of History as the latest recipient. Jamin's dissertation was titled The Shipwrecked Shore, Marine Disasters and the Creation of the American Littoral. Jamin's dissertation used the subject of shipwrecks to explore how 19th century industrialization and modernization transformed the littoral, the space between land and sea. Using legal cases, personal papers, government reports, and literature, Jamin documented the historical implications of how shipwrecks led state and federal authorities to map coastal areas, how life-saving stations and lighthouses brought state authority into littoral spaces, and how shipwrecks became tourist attractions. His dissertation has been solicited for a book series. Please congratulate Jamin Wells, the 2013 William Owen Seifert Prize recipient. The Theodore Wolff Prize in Physical and Life Sciences honors the first faculty member at the university to hold an earned PhD. This year's recipient is Hua He. She goes by Nancy, from the Department of Chemistry and Biochemistry. Nancy is advised by Professor Svilin Bobev. Nancy's dissertation, entitled Crystal Chemistry and the Properties of New Ternary Pnictides, focused on synthesizing new compounds that can be used as thermoelectric materials. These materials can help reduce carbon emissions and utilize thermal energy, both of which are beneficial to the environment. Her dissertation has yielded 11 peer-reviewed publications so far, 9 with her as the first author, and more are on the way. During Nancy's time as a graduate student in the chemistry program, she has received the 3 highest honors given by the department for graduate research. And finally, the body of research that Nancy has written in her dissertation represents only about half of what she accomplished in the lab. Please join me in congratulating this year's Theodore Wolff Prize recipient, Nancy He. I now invite Professor Joseph M. Fox to the platform. Each year, the Office of Graduate and Professional Education invites nominations from the university community to honor a faculty member whose dedication to graduate students and commitment to excellence in graduate training have made a significant contribution to the professional development of graduate students. In recognition of this distinction, the university awards the recipient a plaque, a monetary gift, and places a brick in their honor and mentor circle. This year, we're pleased to add the name of Joseph M. Fox, Professor of Chemistry and Biochemistry, to the distinguished list of outstanding graduate advising and mentoring awardees at the university. Since 2001, Dr. Fox has served as the advisor for 11 PhD dissertations and currently serves as advisor for 10 other PhD students. He has served on the PhD committees of more than 50 graduate students and on several master's committees. His research with graduate students is highly cited and published in the Journal of American Chemical Society and Chemical Science, Chemical and Engineering News, Nature Chemistry, and the theme publications Synfax and Synform. His students have received awards too numerous to mention here. It is abundantly clear that Joe cares deeply about training and welfare of his students, and one of his students wrote, "Professor Fox is passionate about both his students' projects as well as their professional development. His enthusiasm for science is infectious and is translated onto his students, making them more excited and self-motivated." Another student who has published 5 papers with Professor Fox states, "He treats me like a colleague, and he has not only been an advisor but a role model both as a scientist and a person." Students report that Professor Fox is encouraging and holds work to a high standard, and his dedication to his students goes above and beyond what is required of him, spending countless hours writing grant proposals and forging collaborations so that all of his students and their projects will be funded. A student wrote that he noticed that Professor Fox, you have to tell us this if this is true, a student noticed that Professor Fox had a sleeping bag with him in his office in case he needed to stay the night to finish a proposal. A couple times, yeah. Okay. For his outstanding mentoring of graduate students, the university bestows this year's Outstanding Graduate Advising and Mentoring Award to Professor Joseph M. Fox. I now invite to the podium Provost Nancy Brickhouse for the introduction of this year's Convocation speaker. Nancy.
Thank you, Jim. Congratulations, members of the class of 2013. Today we celebrate not just the culmination of your years of doctoral study, no doubt some long, very busy, tiring years, but we're also celebrating your transformation from student to scholar. Doctoral education, by its very nature, is in the business of asking very challenging questions, pushing the frontiers of our knowledge, and solving problems that have no known solutions. And here today to deliver your convocation address is someone who is truly a role model in doing all of these things. Paul Quinn is a professor of psychology and the 2013 recipient of the university's highest faculty honor, the Francis Allison Faculty Award. His research concerns how infants see, how they place the objects they see into categories, and how even the youngest develop concepts from their perceptions. His studies of concept formation have included such processes as identifying classes of objects and recognizing spatial relations. He's shown that very young infants can form concepts from their own experience, setting the foundation for later learning. He's explored how infants learn to form socially relevant categories, such as recognizing gender and race. This work has received a great deal of attention from both professional and popular presses because of its implications about forming emotional attachments to other people, and because it suggests how social biases and prejudice may begin. Dr. Quinn is an innovator of experimental methodology. He develops theoretical models for the mechanisms and the processes he observes and integrates neurological methods into his behavioral work. He's widely regarded as a leader in each of these areas, and because the processes he studies are so fundamental, his work influences a wide range of psychological research. Professor Quinn remains a highly productive and very influential scholar. He's been continuously funded since 1991. He's served on editorial boards for major journals in his field. He serves on review panels and chairs those review panels for international meetings. He's been invited to write many book chapters, reviews, and gives frequent invited talks. In addition to his prominent research portfolio, Dr. Quinn is widely recognized for his work as a teacher and a mentor, always encouraging his students to develop and carry out their own research ideas. He's provided mentoring to former students long after they've left his course or laboratory, many of whom have expressed very deep gratitude for the influence that he has had on their careers. Professor Quinn is indeed one of our most influential researchers and educators, and it is my great pleasure to welcome him as your 2013 speaker. Please join me in welcoming Professor Quinn.
I'd like to thank Provost Brickhouse for that kind introduction. Let me begin by extending sincere congratulations to the new doctors in the House. It's a day to feel proud for all that you've earned after years of hard work and long hours of study. Remember also to express your thanks to those who are here with you today, your families and faculty mentors. They've supported you during this journey and are now rightfully basking in your reflected glory. When Associate Provost for Graduate and Professional Education Jim Richards inquired with me about giving the convocation today, he suggested limiting remarks to 5 to 10 minutes. And I thought to myself, Jim, I wouldn't need 5 to 10 minutes, I would only need 10 seconds, and my advice would be, don't waste time on bullock ceremonies like this one, get to work. I'm actually just kidding in suggesting that. Psychology teaches us that unexpected stimuli engage our attention, so now that I've got your attention, I can say that I did not, in fact, have the opportunity to attend my university hooding ceremony. I defended my dissertation on a Thursday in late July, went to a party at my advisor's house that night, rented a truck on Friday morning, packing my belongings into it, and drove on a Saturday and Sunday to Iowa City, Iowa, so I'd be ready to start my new job as an assistant professor that Monday, the 1st of August at the University of Iowa. I arrived at the university on time such that now I'm a faculty member, whereas 3 days previously I was a graduate student. And that's a big transition. I'm in this department among many star professors, and here I am, this new PhD. I should feel smart, but I felt dumb, and the senior faculty weren't shy about reinforcing that. I recall one saying, hey, Paul, you've got a long way to go. And I'm thinking, fresh in a new job, and I'm already in trouble. But in fact, I wasn't. The reason I believed I was in trouble was rooted in the mistaken assumption, which I suspect is present in more than a few new doctorates, that I should know everything. I should be omniscient. The knowledge should all be in my head. And if that's true, when one reaches inside the head and doesn't find the answer awaiting, one can get a little panicky. I'd like to make a link between that observation and a debate taking place in my own field of infant cognition. No contemporary scholar of cognitive development would disagree with the observation that cognitive development occurs rapidly, but there remain disagreements about how this comes about. One view has it that to account for this speedy development, one needs to build innate content or knowledge into the infant. This is a view known as radical nativism. But if that view is correct, wouldn't that mean that infants are omniscient or all-knowing? My lab has worked with many infants over the last 25 plus years, and while we continue to be surprised at the tasks that infants perform successfully, in some instances better than adults, omniscient or all-knowing still doesn't feel like an appropriate descriptor of their cognitive status. An alternative view of infants, one that resonates with me, is that rather than building knowledge into the infant, let's give the infants the tools to acquire the knowledge. Those tools include perceptual systems that provide windows onto the world, thereby equipping the infant with potent powers of observation which in turn feed into a complex learning system which comes from the factory with key core processes such as mental organizing or categorizing that involve putting little pieces together in our minds such that they form larger, more functional wholes. Such processes allow us to be information synthesizers. Another example of a learning process is analogy-based learning, a mechanism that allows infants to take a relation learned in one domain and map it to a structure they're attempting to learn in a different domain. We're also going to need to provide infants with an additional something, a fuel, if you will, that will galvanize these processes, that is, cause them to engage with the world rather than stay wrapped in plastic. It's likely that this fuel source is a natural propensity known as curiosity, which is manifested in infants as a preference for novelty. These are just examples of the standard equipment that infants come out of the factory with, but the broader point is that the infant entering into the world ready to solve the complex problem of transforming an undifferentiated flux of contours, luminance levels, and wavelengths of light into a set of objects distinct from their backgrounds with membership and equivalence categories such as cat, chair, and car can be analogized to the new doctorate entering into a postdoc, faculty job, position in government or industry, or physical or psychological therapist position, who will be asked to solve complex problems for which the answer may not be readily available. When that happens, there's no reason to feel dumb or inadequate or ill-prepared as I did many years ago at Iowa, because you shouldn't lose sight of the fact that you have your core cognitive processes or learning tools to fall back on. These are the same ones that you likely came into the world with and the same ones that allowed you to get your doctorate in the first place. Wherever you go, those skills will be with you, allowing you to work well outside of your comfort zone, just as I'm doing here. Commit yourself intellectually, then, not to being an omniscient knower, an unrealizable objective, but rather to being a lifelong learner. In those moments when one doesn't have an answer and an answer exists, in infants and children developing cognitively, we call that the zone of proximal development. It can be an uncomfortable place because it's the mental place in which one may feel like one is groping around, feeling one's way through the dark. However, as a new doctorate, I would urge you to get comfortable in those places, or at least stay in them sufficiently long, tolerating the uncertainty and accompanying anxiety to generate an answer, because these are likely the mental spaces that will allow you to spawn novel solutions to difficult problems. It's in this zone in which your best creative mental work is likely to take place. Another correspondence that can be drawn between the developing infant and the new doctorate is that the process by which infants build up a base of knowledge within a particular domain has been likened to the manner in which adults acquire expertise. For example, we think that what infants learn about people allows them to learn about animals in general, thereby allowing for the acquisition of a broad concept of animal. In the same way, while acquiring your doctorate, you've learned a particular expertise, and one way you'll continue to learn is by relating newly acquired information to that expertise. Your expertise is thus cognitively powerful because it will become your framework for interpreting new experiences. The fact that each of you has developed a distinctive form of expertise while acquiring your doctorate is one of the factors that allows you to understand how individual differences come about. After all, if we each have the same standard cognitive equipment, then that raises the question of how it is that we're different. But I would also suggest that from a psychological perspective, there's one additional source of individual difference, and here's where I turn into the anti-Woody Allen. Woody Allen said that 80% of success is just showing up. But for folks at doctorate levels of the workforce, I don't think that's true. My late faculty advisor, Peter Imus, impressed on me that most of us have an average dose of intelligence. This is because intelligence is believed to be normally distributed in the population, such that 7 out of 10 of us fall within one standard deviation of the average. So if most of us have the standard equipment and an average dose of intelligence, why is it that some people are more successful than others? Peter's answer, which I agree with, is that 80% of success is hustle. I regard hustle as a combination of the energy and enthusiasm that you will into your daily pursuits. In my lecture courses, I often begin class by asking students, who's got the fire in the belly today? Who's setting the tempo? And in that gesture, I become a motivational coach. But what I really believe is that the majority of one's motivation has to be coaxed out of oneself by oneself. It's self-taught. It's the part of the equation for a successful life that you're responsible for. Bring it. So as you head out into the world of work post-UD, be confident of your cognitive skill set, powered by natural curiosity. And remember that this skill set will need to be continually redeployed with each new problem that you're asked to solve. Be poised to offer your particular brand of expertise to help solve that problem. And see if you can develop a sense of enjoyment, or at least patience, rather than loathing when in the mental throes of working toward a solution. And lastly, be sure to bring your passion. Give it everything you've got. Good luck. Thank you.
On behalf of the Office of Graduate and Professional Education, I'm honored to welcome the degree candidates and their families to this event. The University of Delaware awards degrees 4 times each year. Today, we are recognizing those students who have completed degrees in the 12-13 academic year. The doctoral hooding is a convocation is a tradition at the University of Delaware. For the degree candidates, it is likely to be a one-time event in your lifetime. We believe that the experience of this event that recognizes your accomplishment will linger in your memory and the memory of your family as you step off into your future endeavors, leading the way to prominence. The colorful and distinctive garb conspicuous of commencement ceremonies had its origins in the High Middle Ages, 12th and 13th centuries, when the university itself came into being. The ordinary dress of the scholar, whether student or teacher, was the dress of a cleric as the early universities grew up in the shadow of the church. It should not be surprising, therefore, that the cap, gown, and hood grew out of the clerical dress of that time period. The early university scholars were usually very poor. Students could only afford the cheapest material for clothing. Black stuff is often as it is referred. The long gowns may have been necessary for warmth in unheated buildings. I think your warm gown might have helped you outside today. As colonists crossed the Atlantic and American universities were founded, the styles of the academic gowns proliferated. The representatives, trustees convened in 1895 to establish formal standards. The code was very detailed with respect to the types of sleeves, whether the gown was to be worn open or closed, the recommendation that the gown be black, and what the appropriate trimmings should be. In later times, and as recently as the 1986, the American Council on Education appointed a committee on academic costumes and ceremonies and published a formal document known as the Academic Costume Code for caps, gowns, and hoods. This is the code we follow today. Most universities no longer use black robes, but use their university color for the robe and include 3 black stripes like you have on your robe, on your sleeve, to indicate a doctoral degree. The most colorful and distinctive element of the academic garb is the hood. The traditional rule is that a candidate for the degree should not wear the hood of that degree until it is actually conferred. However, when there is a designated hooding ceremony, such as this one, individuals may wear their hoods thereafter in the procession at a separate commencement. Your participation in this hooding ceremony this evening is to affirm your right to wear the hood at commencement. Remember, tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock. The doctoral hood is to be 4 feet long and has panels at the side. The Intercollegiate Code provides that a hood should be lined with the official colors of the institution conferring the degree, and the lining is worn exposed. UD hoods are royal blue velvet on the outside, and the inside material is blue and gold. The hood is also trimmed with the color indicating the discipline of learning to which the degree pertains. Each subject or discipline has a distinct color. If a person holds more than 1 academic degree, he or she may wear only 1 hood at a time, and it should match the gown. For doctoral candidates, the tassel on the cap should be worn to the left rather than the right, since the candidate already has earned a previous degree. Your tassel today and tomorrow at commencement should be worn on the left. Therefore, in preparation for commencement, let us begin the hooding ceremony and distribution of diplomas.
Good evening, and congratulations, graduates. I'm Janine Sherrier from the College of Ag, and I'd like to welcome you to tonight's ceremony. UD's College of Agriculture and Natural Resources is part of a national network of land-grant universities. It was established to coordinate research and education on the effective uses of our natural resources and to guarantee a safe and secure food system for our nation's people. For more than 150 years, graduates from our college have pursued successful careers related to these essential missions. Today, with the growing global population and a greater recognition of our responsibility to steward the Earth's environment, the need for continued excellence in these areas has never been greater. This evening, we bestow the honor of the PhD hood to scholars who have achieved their PhDs in these research fields. Each student has made a unique contribution to the research areas related to the environment and food production. We are very proud of your accomplishments, and we wish these candidates all the best as they embark on their new futures. Will the candidates for the PhD degree in the College of Agriculture and Natural Resources please come forward to be hooded and receive the diploma?
Mouillet. Mou's study was to determine the effect of high hydrostatic pressure alone or in combination with other hurdles such as mild heat and cold storage to inactivate bacteria on raw or uncooked oysters due to the high health risk due to their association with human pathogens. Michelle Wendell, Animal and Food Science, accompanied by Liming Kong. During Michelle's journey, she experienced both the best and worst times of her life. In January of last year, she was in a car accident that broke her pelvis and sacrum. She had to relearn how to walk. It was extremely painful and depressing to feel so helpless. Her UD family was amazing. They visited her in the hospital and at home, sending flowers, cards, and well wishes. Her co-workers visit her nearly every day. Michelle has accepted a position at a company called Vita Plus, located in Madison, Wisconsin. She is going to be helping farmers to make better silage and raise healthier cows and educating people about good farming practices. Matthew Seebecker, accompanied by his advisor Donald Sparks, Plant and Soil Sciences. His research focuses on how toxic levels of metals become immobilized and sequestered in soils and sediments that can be harmful to humans and plants. He has some advice. There is no substitute for hard work. To learn from your mistakes, you must first realize you made one.
Good evening. It's my great pleasure to welcome and recognize the students receiving PhDs in the College of Arts and Sciences. All right. Our college is the largest at the university, and we offer 16 distinct PhD programs across the humanities, social sciences, and the natural sciences. At a comprehensive research university like Delaware, we are in the business of creating and disseminating new knowledge across a wide array of disciplines. These disciplines advance through the original scholarship of our faculty and students, and your graduate research is a key part of that. We work to ensure not only your personal transformation, but that your research transforms your areas of study. Our reputation as a university depends in large part on your success, both here and in your future endeavors. Now, many of you may regard this weekend as the last time that you celebrate a graduation ceremony. But for those of you who go on to academic careers, you will find that one of the chief pleasures of the academic life is that graduations continue. They continue from the perspective of a faculty member, a dissertation advisor, or a university administrator. And so it is with real pleasure and pride that I congratulate you on your achievement, and I welcome you to the growing body of our college's graduate alumni. Would those students receiving PhDs from the College of Arts and Sciences please come forward?
It's really hard to see here. Barbara Cudis, with a program in art history with his advisor, Ikem Oikoyoko. Barbara's dissertation research unexpectedly led her to spend time in the Czech Republic, the country of her parents' birth. Her research centered on the discourse on artists who are parents and who choose to represent their children and the acts of parenting in their art. She is an adjunct professor at the Tyler School of Art, Temple University, and at the Camden campus at Rutgers University. Elizabeth Melanson, accompanied by her advisor, Margaret Worth, in the program of art history. She studied the influence of women patrons on the development of modern art in France. Until now, art historians have not taken time into account the impact of women's collecting, commissioning, and promotion on the history of late 19th and early 20th century art. She will be continuing as an art historian at St. Mary's College of Southern Maryland. Brian Whitaker in Biological Sciences, accompanied by his advisor, Fidelamia Boyd. It's out of order. Continue. Who's your card, please? Okay. Hold on, please. Mohammad Al-Hani, accompanied by his advisor, Eleftherios Papatosakis. Mohab recalls the long sleepless nights in the lab when he had to stay up all night to take samples from his experiments. He confesses that he slept under his desk at his office a few times, but it was worth it all at the end. He developed a novel system that enables the genetic engineering of an important group of bacteria. His work is currently being patented by the University of Delaware and is currently being marketed through a local biotech company. He will be returning to his home, Oman, where he will pursue a career in academia as an assistant professor. Keith Jansen, Biological Sciences, accompanied by his advisor, Robert Sykes. Keith helped identify the role of a molecule implicated in prostate cancer metastasis, accepted a postdoctoral position at the National Cancer Institute to work on prostate cancer. Erica Dashner, completing a degree in biological sciences with her advisor, Kenneth Angolan, and also Robert Sykes. Erica's time in graduate school has allowed her to meet and build relationships with amazing individuals. She is ever grateful to her peers for support and friendship, the students allowing her to take every opportunity to develop her skills as an educator, and as her dissertation committee members have challenged her to think like a scientist. Justin David, Biological Sciences, accompanied by his advisor, Kenneth Gangulan, and Ayapan Rashikaran. Graduate school has transformed him into a scientist and a cancer researcher. He feels very fortunate and proud to be a part of this profession. After 3.5 years of work on his first project, it was going nowhere. I faced a crucial decision point. Should I continue on or change my project? He changed his project, and here he is today. He's accepted a postdoctoral research fellowship in the Laboratory of Tumor Immunology Biology at the National Center Cancer Institute, part of the National Institutes of Health in Bethesda, Maryland. Madhura Jakular, completing a degree in biological sciences with her advisor, Kenneth Angolan. In the long term, her research will be able to offer less aggressive, patient-friendly, and targeted treatment approach for inflammatory breast cancer patients. She's going to continue her work as a postdoc in the Department of Biological Sciences here at UD. Her mother is here from India for graduation. Matthew Weitzman, completing a degree in biological sciences, along with his advisor, Kenneth Angolan. Matthew's research has opened the door to understanding the life cell dynamics of a class of proteins fundamental to all cellular processes. It has provided the foundation for numerous future studies, including those focused on cancer. Matthew is a postdoctoral candidate at the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill Medical School. David Wu, accompanied by his advisor, Carolyn Shannon. After graduating with his bachelor's degree, he felt confident that he had a knowledge of science. It wasn't until he became a doctoral student that he became wise enough to realize how little he knew, and that science is much more than a body of knowledge, but a way of thinking. He is grateful for all the support of his family and friends. Fahmi Mamuya. Famai tells us that secondary cataracts affect more than 1 million people in the United States alone every year. His work so far has demonstrated that alpha V integrins play a major role in secondary cataracts development. He knows that the research doesn't work all the time, and there are several times when he felt that his presentation was going to present good results until his advisor said, "This is horrible." After long 6 years of frustration, and he adds low wages, and multiple disappointments from experiments that didn't work, he still loves science. His parents from Tanzania are here. David Schleben. While in graduate school, he says he encountered many tough life decisions and with the help of friends and knowledgeable mentors and advisors and a caring family, it was possible for him to succeed. Cataract is the leading cause of blindness worldwide. His research has studied novel causes of cataracts, focusing on the role that cell morphology plays in both the development of the lens of the eye and the disease. Memarouche Sari. She is the first Iranian female student in her field to apply abroad for a PhD and be admitted to an American university. Still one of few Iranian molecular oncologists worldwide. As a woman from a restricted society of Iran where independent thinking is not encouraged, especially for women, she has had an excellent opportunity to be free and discover her strengths and grow into a confident, independent thinker, both in academia and many other aspects of her life. Her mother has traveled here from Iran with many difficulties getting a visa, but she made it here. Sharmila Batchery, Biological Sciences with Ulhasnak. Her research is a step forward in understanding about angiogenesis, blood vessel formation. This could help in creating anti-angiogenetic drugs that would be helpful to combat pathological like tumors and wound-induced angiogenesis. She is going to be a postdoctoral fellow at the University of California, Santa Cruz, where she's going to do work on stem cell research. Jody Greene, Biological Sciences, with her advisor, William Farquhar. Jody Greene will be starting a postdoctoral research fellow at Penn State University, where she continues to study blood pressure regulation in older adults with cardiovascular disease. As hypertension is a major public health issue, she is hopeful that her studies will bring forward new information underlying impaired control of blood pressure. We've met Wawi before. She's attended the University of Delaware and says it opened up a new chapter in her life. She has been studying for 5 years, very tough, but every progress to the doctorate degree took tremendous effort. But she will never regret it. It's been a lifetime dream, and now this dream has come through. She is continuing as a postdoctoral associate at Stony Brook University. Ming Dong, chemistry and biochemistry, with her advisor, Brian Botson. She wants to say thank you to UD for giving her such a great experience. In her 6 years of study and research, she has become a scientist, and she has dreamed of it since she was a small child. She also enjoyed very much being a TA in the chemistry department. Yingshen Wang, chemistry and biochemistry, accompanied by her advisor, Charles Riordan. Yingshen's husband has come all the way today to be here from Australia to attend this celebration. Her research goal has been to expand the understanding small molecule activation by low-valent nickel complexes. Gabriela Uceda, chemistry and biochemistry, accompanied with her advisor, John Coe. She wants to thank her family and friends for their constant support throughout her graduate years. Their words of encouragement and loving advice in this journey have been and always will be important to overcome everyday obstacles. I wouldn't have done it without you. David Baruta, chemistry and biochemistry, accompanied by Joseph Fox. David is an ASCE postdoctoral fellow under a chief scientist of the Navy at the Naval Surface Warfare Center in Indian Head, Maryland. His research has opened up new questions in the design of chiral catalysts. His research has been published in a high-packed journal, so those 15 hours of days paid off, David. He has a word of advice. Where you get your PhD from is not as important as what you do with it. William Baza, completing a degree in chemistry and biochemistry with his advisor, Zhishao Zhuang. William states that his doctoral training has been a wonderful and challenging experience that has led it to develop him into an independent and productive scientist. Having his research published and observing it cited in other work has been a particularly meaningful event to him. He is a postdoc at the U.S. Food and Drug Administration. Justin Wells, in history, accompanied by his advisor, Arwen Moen. He says, I assume, like many, the personal and professional relationships he's made with professors, fellow students, and undergraduate students remain high in his meaningful experience at UD. That said, relatively few things can compare to passing your comprehensive exams or successfully defending your dissertation. Richard Demjurian, accompanied by his advisor, Kathy Matson. He is amazed at how much he's learned and how much he understood in these later years, but he's even more amazed at how much he still has to learn and how much he still does not know, and that is the later which excites him the most. What is meaningful to him today, May 24th, is that he can look at his wife, Joanna, and say, honey, this thing is finished and I've got a job. He's going to be a professor at Rutgers University. Daniel Claro, accompanied by his advisor, Arwen Moen, I'm sorry. Okay. Daniel's dissertation considers the chronology of changing transportation, exploring the way in which practical concerns and landscape reveal the nature and meaning of travel to individuals. He is employed at Princeton University. Stephanie Hollyfield in history, accompanied by Arwen Moen. She said she never wanted to be anything but a historian, and now she has a chance to live that dream. She went through all of her classes, exams, and research as a single parent, which was no small feat. Her advisor has always been understanding and helpful in managing her dissertation and family. She is continuing on and will be teaching at Wesley College in Dover. Matthew Hedrick, accompanied by his advisor, Peter Colchin. Matthew's daughter was a newborn when he started the program. She's now 8 years old, and a living reminder of how long this process took. Also, his grandmother traveled here from Florida for this event. Ann Peng, completing a degree in linguistics, accompanied by Gabriela Hermon. The most meaningful part of her journey has been making one of my dreams come true. When I was an undergrad, I always doubted it was possible for me to come this far. Now that I have come this far, I know that I can do anything I set my mind to. Congratulations. Nicholas Brubaker, completing a degree in mathematics, accompanied by his advisor, John Palesko. He's especially appreciative of all the people in the Department of Math. In the fall, he will be a National Science Foundation Mathematical Sciences Postdoctoral Research Fellow at the University of Arizona. Lu Xu, completing a degree in mathematics, also accompanied by Dr. Palasko. Her particularly meaningful moments are sharing the research results in academic meetings and conferences and publishing papers. Research is a journey to find and overcome many obstacles. I really enjoy the process and the joy of solving the problems, she says. She is so lucky to have a great advisor who could not be here today, but she wants him to know that she was her great honor to be his very first student. So he was unable to come today. Her parents, however, traveled from China to attend this event. Matthew Zumbrum, completing a degree in mathematics. He also appreciates all the mentorship in the Department of Mathematics. He's accepted an instructor position in the Department of Math at Temple University. Brian Kronenthal, mathematics, accompanied by Sebastian Sioba. His first teaching experience has been quite meaningful. In addition to working as a teaching assistant, he's taught 5 courses as a primary instructor. He's going to continue that teaching in the role of a professor at Kutztown University. Wisely Wong, in Department of Mathematics, he says you should always be thankful for your health. Don't take your health for granted. Eat your vegetables. He had a kidney transplant several years ago, and he's very thankful for his health and being able to make it this far. He is doing work, continuing to do research and higher appreciation of ideas behind mathematical proofs. Jing Li, accompanied by his advisor, Robert Gilbert, in the mathematics department, she says everything is important to her. Without their kind and patient and excellent guidance in the math department, I could not have been so successful. They made me feel like I was at home. Jing's research will help in detecting osteoporosis, which is a disease of the bone, which leads to an increasing risk of fracture. Her parents have come here from China today. Nagitha Anakiaki, Department of Physics, accompanied by her advisor, Barry Walker. Her work has contributed to the development of atomic, molecular, and optical physics, laser technology, and applied optics. She is headed to Germany as a postdoctoral research associate in Hamburg, Germany. Her parents are here from Sri Lanka. James Alessio, completing a degree in physics, accompanied by Harry Shipman. James really enjoyed traveling to New Zealand and observing at CTIO in the Andes and Chiles. His research has changed the criteria for planet detection around white dwarfs with the pulsation timing method. He also discovered what appears to be a complicated magnetic field cycle in white dwarfs. He's going to continue his research here at the University of Delaware as he hopes to revolutionize the relationship between social media and news. Juan Gale, Department of Physics, with his advisor Matthew DeCamp. He's accepted a postdoc position at Argonne National Lab. Yes, his mother came here to attend the hooding from China. Zayed Rizvi has a postdoctoral position at Kavli Institute of Theoretical Physics at the Chinese Academy of Sciences in Beijing, China. He's accompanied by his advisor, Kaiser Shafi. He wants to thank the people of the United States so very much for his financial support during the time that he was here. His family members are not here, but they are watching it on their computers, and he wants to say thank you very much. Bayaktatar Rizkabev in physics. Thomas Geiser is his advisor. It was all hard work and exciting and at the same time, he says. My most memorable moment during my studies was a trip to geographical South Pole, where he participated in the deployment of a 1 cubic kilometer neutrino telescope. His research is an important puzzle piece in solving the mysteries of the cosmic rays. He says he's the first person in his family to earn a PhD degree, but he hopes there will be others to follow. He is also from Turkey. Atsuko Geiger, Political Science and International Relations, accompanied by Ala Spa. It's an extra special event for her to receive her doctoral degree in the same year she had her first child, and his son is here at the graduation. She hopes to continue the understanding and development of Japanese civil society. She did a good portion of her dissertation on the commuter train on her way to work at the Japan Center for International Exchange in New York. Her parents are here from Japan today. William Anthony Rivera, Political Science and International Relations, accompanied by Daniel Green. He very much appreciated the open intellectual environment that encouraged him to take up a matter of interest and pursue it in the political science department. The importance of making good friends and keeping close cannot be overstated. He came to Delaware from Miami, didn't know anyone here. He recalls the loneliness, rejection, financial issues. They're all a part of his graduate experience. But connecting with people is essential to overcome these obstacles. He's currently a postdoc at the University of Chicago's Computation Institute. Jun Ko, Political Science and International Relations, with the advisor Mark Miller. As there have not been many studies on Korean immigration and foreign worker policies, believes that the research can contribute to not only immigration and international relations literature in general, but also to the Korean immigration studies literature in particular. And again, his mother has come here from South Korea to attend this event. Juliette Tolle, Political Science and International Relations, accompanied by Mark Miller. Juliette states that her journey as a doctoral student has been very different from what she expected. She expected dissertation to just be a longer master's thesis. That would require a little more time, but that would not be qualitatively different intellectual exercise, but she found out she was wrong. She now has a tenure-track assistant professor in political science in the School of Public Affairs at Penn State, Harrisburg. Gillian Hamilton had the opportunity to travel to New Zealand to learn new techniques through behavioral interventions to lessen the brain damage caused by fetal alcohol exposure. She's continuing her research as a postdoc fellow at the University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign. Amber Belcher. Her research has added to the understanding of the impact of cancer on the daily lives of patients with cancer and their spouses. She hopes that the future work will contribute to efforts to inform programs designed to help couples coping with the stress of cancer. She's accepted a postdoctoral fellowship in medical oncology at Geisinger Hospital in Pennsylvania. Kristen Bernard, completing a degree in psychology with her advisor, Mary Dozer. Her research has added to our understanding of the impact of early adversity on child's development. She hopes that her future work will contribute to efforts to prevent child maltreatment and inform programs designed to help families living in high-risk environments. She has accepted a faculty position in the clinical psychology program at Stony Brook University. Elizabeth Higley, completing a degree in psychology, accompanied by her advisor, Mary Dozer, for which she is very grateful for teaching her attachment theory. All 4 of Elizabeth's children were born during the time she was in graduate school. She says it has taken a bit longer to complete her degree. Joanna Harris, completing a degree in psychology with her advisor, Roger Kobach. She too is a mom, balancing mom and a grad student at the same time. She's working on research that will work on the development of effective treatment for children and adolescents with depression. She's accepted a postdoctoral fellowship at the Center for Family Intervention Science at Drexel University. Her 90-year-old grandfather is here celebrating this weekend from Wisconsin. Ningling Wang, psychology with her professor, James Hoffman. She says every 5 years of her doctoral studies at UD has been invaluable. People here are like my dearest family. They make everything perfect in her lab, department, and the university. No matter where she goes, the memory of UD is the precious treasure that she will always have in her deepest heart. She's going to work at Duke University as a postdoctoral fellow. David Lane. Okay, accompanied by Margaret Anderson. He's lucky to have met with some wonderful people that have faith in him, believed in him, and supported him throughout this process. He's working on a book that relates to his studies of cultures that are embedded in the culture of occupation. He received a job offer 1 hour ago from the University of South Dakota. He wrote it on the card. Tracy Mann, along with her advisor, Daniela Yannick, from the Urban Affairs and Public Policy. Tracy hopes to share the experiences of the families in her study with a wider audience so that the individuals who work in the service systems of children with autism and their families, those who create policy and regulations for those services, can learn from those families and adapt services to address the needs of families. She's starting a fellowship in a clinical program for children with autism. Yingong Nian, Urban Affairs and Public Policy. She has the opportunities for working in 2 research centers while she was here at UD, the Center for Demography and Survey Research and Delaware Education Research and Development. It's particularly meaningful for her. She has learned much from this professional research science in these centers. Because of such precious experience, she's made up her mind to be a policy scientist in the future. Her mother is here from China today. Kevin Adkin, Urban Affairs and Public Policy, accompanied by his advisor, Yeda Schroeder. His research helped Delaware's climatically uncertain future and will hope to lead to a more socially, economically, and environmentally secure future for all Delawareans through innovative climate policies.
Good evening. My name is Bruce Weber, and I'm privileged to serve as the Dean of the Alfred Lerner College of Business and Economics. It's my great pleasure to participate in the University of Delaware's Doctoral Hooding Convocation. We are here this evening to honor the students who are receiving PhDs in the Lerner College, class of 2013. I would like to recognize the specific accomplishments of our 3 PhD recipients in the Department of Economics. Wuliang Zhang, Xiaomin Gu, Bogdan Niedinov, please come forward with their advisors.
Bogdan Nedgov, accompanied by his advisor, Charles Link, says it was wonderful to meet so many other individuals with similar interests who are pursuing a PhD or master's in economics. His parents could not be here but are watching by the webcast ceremony. Excuse me. Jean Mingo, accompanied by William Lathan and Helen Bowers. No matter how determined you are, she says you can never live without those that bring you love. Being homesick from time to time was hard for her, but she's so glad it's over. She gives credit of her accomplishment to her great-grandfather, her family spirit, her most precious and respectable person. Her parents traveled all the way from Shanghai to be her guests for the day. Li Zhang Zhao, accompanied by Bill Latham, and has an offer from J.P. Morgan Chase 2 days ago. Okay? His dissertation is expected to have some influence to the metropolitan China housing market. His parents are traveling and are here today from Shanghai, China, to attend this ceremony.
I'm Nancy Target, the Dean of the College of Earth, Ocean, and Environment. The work of the students that we are hooding today represents a snapshot of environmental study as it's conducted on land, at sea, and in the air in the 21st century. Their dissertations have often focused on some of society's grand environmental challenges. For example, climate change, how we learn about it, how it will impact urban landscapes, its effect on nutrient and water fluxes in forests, and ecosystem shifts that can be expected in our coastal ocean environments. Or from the perspective of pollution, how endocrine disruptors have impacted coastal animals such as the horseshoe crab. Or in terms of land use, from the impacts of vegetative buffers on river processes. They've also sought to enhance the foundational knowledge that we have so that we better understand the ecology of our polar coastal oceans, of pyrite nanoparticles formation in the deep sea hydrothermal vents, and of the dynamics of coastal geological processes. Knowing about the efforts of our CEOE students and hearing about the efforts of all of the others here today really fuels my optimism about the future. So to the geologists among you, I say, rock on. To the marine science and policy candidates, I say to you, the world really is your oyster. And to the geographers, I say to you, you've already charted a path forward, and now you have the latitude to make a real difference. I offer my warmest congratulations to you, and indeed to all of the degree candidates today, and to all of you I say, well done. President Harker, it is my privilege to present to you the degree candidates from the College of Earth, Ocean, and Environment for hooding. Will the degree candidates and their advisors please come forward?
Tiana Bogert, accompanied by David Legates and Brian Hansen. Tiana did a special thing as a doctoral student in addition to all of her doctoral work, in that she participated in the Higher Education Teaching Certification Program, which is a program that prepares students to be future faculty. Courtney Siegert in geography, accompanied by her advisor, Delphus Leah. She says that she has had a great experience as she has been a doctoral student. She learned important lessons in both scholarship and life, but most importantly, giving back to the community that made it possible for her to achieve these goals. However, some of the more challenging aspects of her dissertation were collecting data in the field in a nearby research forest in temperatures as low as 20 degrees and as high as 90, in high humidity with bugs, spider webs, and mosquitoes. Her research is going to contribute to the understanding of forest nutrient cycling and long-term forest health in the face of changing climates. Stephanie Stotts, completing a degree in geography, accompanied by Michael O'Neill. Stephanie's dissertation examined the complex interactions between trees and eroding riverbanks at South River, Virginia, so as to provide valuable information regarding the use of reforestation as a bank stabilization strategy. She has a position at Wesley College. Adam Stark, completing a degree in geology with his advisor, Arthur Turbanis. He's had the opportunity to do oceanic field research all over the world, including New Zealand, Turkey, Greece, and the Bahamas. He's going to be currently an oceanographer with the National Oceanic Atmospheric Administration, NOAA, Office of Ocean Exploration and Research. Stephanie Nebel, also accompanied by Arthur Turbanis, geology. As a coastal geologist, she studied the barrier island in Virginia. Through her research, she was able to determine historical rates of retreat on the island and also better determine past island configuration when sea level was lower. Marina Lili Nickrad, Marine Studies, accompanied by David Kirchman. She was able to conduct science at Palmer Station, Antarctica during the summer and fall seasons. She saw massive glaciers calving into the ocean and observed humpback whales while sampling in Zodiac boats. She tells us that there are 1 million bacteria in every drop of water, which is very important in determining what's going to happen with climate change. Emily Mogg Douglas, a Marine Studies degree, accompanied by her advisor, Douglas Miller. Her hope is that her research will broaden people's understanding of how seemingly everyday household chemicals can end up in our estuaries and negatively impact horseshoe crab populations. She says, if you see a horseshoe crab stranded on the beach, remember to slip it. She is going to be a postdoctoral researcher at Xiamen University in China. Joanna Huckster, Marine Studies, accompanied by her advisor, Willette Kempton. Joanna shares that during the time as a PhD student, she learned the extent of her own tenacity, as previously she did not know how much drive she possessed, how intelligent she was, and what capabilities she had. Her research deals with a public understanding of climate change. Her cousin came today from Greece. Anna Gartman, the degree in oceanography, accompanied by her advisor, George Luther. Going to the South Pacific and Mid-Atlantic to conduct research at seas into hydrothermal vents has been particularly memorable to her. She has spent more than 2 months at sea over the course of time that she was a graduate student here, which has been incredible.
I am Leno Kagaki, Dean of the College of Education and Human Development. On behalf of the faculty of our college, I want to offer our heartfelt congratulations to our graduates. As I speak, will the graduates from the College of Education and Human Development please come forward with their advisors? The fields of education and human development are at the forefront of our country's narrative. So, to our graduates, know that you will be called upon to use your knowledge and skills to help solve some of the most significant challenges that we face as a nation and as members of a global community. In our country, 1 out of 4 12th graders cannot understand a 12th grade textbook. In Philadelphia, 1 out of 10 adolescents reports having experienced homelessness already, either homelessness with his or her family, homelessness because he's been kicked out of the home, or because the adolescent has run away. Improving education and support for the positive development of children, youth, adults, and families are enormous challenges. And as I look at you, our graduates, know that now these challenges are your challenges as you become leaders in our fields. We, your faculty, are confident that the creativity, the analytical skills, the determination, and persistence that brought you here today will enable you to help us solve these most difficult social problems. You are bright and competent. Make yours the generation that solves some of the most intractable problems of our nation. President Harker, I am proud to present the 2013 doctoral candidates from the College of Education and Human Development.
Dina Scanlon, accompanied by her advisor Ann Morris, has spent over 30 years in the classroom and has had many wonderful experiences and now has completed a doctoral degree. She has worked on a project to approach developing a mathematics learning goal project for special needs students in their individualized education program. Tommy Christine Barrett Greenlee also had a job offer today. This must be a magic day. Working as an instructional designer, creating coursework in Orlando, Florida. She came back today from Florida just to attend this special event with her 2 children. Ryan Arthurton, completing a degree in educational leadership, accompanied by his advisor, Elizabeth Farley Ripple. He is now a different professional person with a different career goals today than when he came here 8 years ago. He's gone through a total evolving, and he found that his program evolved with him and equipped him to move forward in his career in school leadership. Rita Ann Lasky, completing a Doctor of Education degree, accompanied by her advisor, Elizabeth Soslu. She's a full-time faculty member at Temple University in the school teaching nursing students. It was also necessary due to an emergency with a family faculty member to change her advisors, but her new advisor stepped right in and provided her much encouragement during this adjustment, for which she's very thankful. Aaron Davis, accompanied by his advisor, Fred Hofstetter. He says that the entirety of his college education has been here. He's been here in a program at the university now for 10 years. He hopes that the impact of his research will help educators recognize the importance of the visual medium through which we communicate today. He has a special quote he likes from Walt Disney: "We keep moving forward, opening new doors and doing new things because we're curious, and curiosity keeps leading us down new paths." Amy Greenwald Foley, completing a degree in educational leadership, accompanied with her advisor, Joan Buttram. Many years ago, Amy confesses that she set a goal to finish her doctorate before she was 50. 4 years ago, it struck her that she needed to act fast, or she would miss the window. Now, with more than a year before that, she's made her milestone goal. She's so proud to say that she's accomplished her goal. She did, however, miss a few Girl Scout meetings, kindergarten field trips, and lots of meals around the dinner table to do this. Fran O'Malley, completing a degree in educational leadership with his advisor, Robert Hampel. Over the journey, he learned that understanding in practice is the art of choosing what to know and what to ignore in order to proceed with what is most meaningful in one's life. Fran's work is finding its way into the state of Delaware's recommended curriculum for students K-12. Cassandra Sakar, completing a degree in educational leadership with her advisor, William Lewis. Cassandra is an English teacher at New York High School as she has pursued her doctorate degree, and what she has learned from literacy research, she is now able to put into practice. She thought the whole journey of being a full-time teacher concurrent with being a student was a Herculean effort. Her relatives from North Carolina have come to join in this celebration. Susanna Mortal Torres Miller, accompanied by her advisor, Alfini Flores. During this past academic year, she gave birth to her daughter on May 9th. Despite this added responsibility, she's worked hard in order to not need an additional year of study to finish the degree. It was difficult to balance this major life change with the typical thesis and job search responsibilities associated with the last year of doctoral study. Nevertheless, she's accepted a tenure-track assistant professorship as a mathematics educator in the mathematics department at Kennesaw State University in Georgia. Annalie Codman, accompanied by her advisor, Amanda Jansen. She has accepted a position as an assistant professor at Columbia Basin College in Pasco, Washington. Her family is here to celebrate from Tennessee. Nurmine Al-Elkadar, accompanied by her advisor, Eugene Matisoff. Nermine's research stresses the value of democratic education that takes into account the rights of individuals to disagree even with their teachers and the whole institution of education. We express our congratulations to her, and she's so happy to achieve what she has called the prize. Casey Irwin, a PhD in education, accompanied by her advisor, Nancy Jordan. Casey hopes that her research can provide insights that illuminate the salient skills young children need to be successful in mathematics. She also has a first child born in April of this year, and it's wonderful for her to be here at this ceremony. Brenna Hassinger-Das, completing a PhD in education with her advisor, Nancy Jordan. Over the course of 4 years, she's had wonderful opportunities to conduct research as a doctoral student under the guidance of her advisor. By gaining a better understanding of the relationship between children's mathematics, vocabulary understanding, and general mathematics knowledge, educators will be able to provide targeted and effective numeracy instruction to support children's future academic successes. She's going to continue that research as a postdoc researcher at Temple University. Liken Howe, a PhD degree in education, accompanied by her advisor, Nanda Kumar. Liken holds a position as a psychometrician at the American Institute of CPAs. Her research is centered on the theoretical framework development of cognitive diagnostic models for the purpose of establishing a more valid use of current models.
Good evening. My name is Tunde Ogunaike, and I'm Interim Dean of the College of Engineering. On behalf of the entire college, I'm pleased to congratulate all the candidates for the doctoral degrees in the College of Engineering. The College of Engineering at UD has been granting degrees since the late 1800s and has a long and distinguished history. In fact, one of the first PhD programs at UD was started in my home department, Chemical Engineering. Today, ours is one of the premier colleges of engineering in the nation. So what makes our college stand out? It's the UD culture of excellence, our faculty, our staff, our students, and our alumni. The reputation of our programs is built on the success of our alumni, a group that includes presidents of universities, members of the National Academy of Engineering, and the inventors of revolutionary technologies such as the touchpad on the iPhone and the iPad. This is the illustrious group that you will be joining this weekend. You were asked to share a memorable moment from your time here as a student. For me, the most rewarding part of my graduate education was the relationships that I built with faculty mentors and fellow students. I know that you have built those relationships here at the University of Delaware, and I hope you will continue to nurture them well into the future. I'm now pleased to present the students from the College of Engineering to President Harker for hooding in recognition of the completion of their degrees. Please come forward to be recognized at this time.
Rajesh Singh, accompanied by his advisor, Kazak Sarkar. He has completed 13 journal articles and has presented at 8 conferences in his topic. He was also the recipient of the Elijah Conover Award for an outstanding student studying fluid dynamics. Minho Miang. His research on the disintegration of waste activated sludge by infrastructuration for reduction of excess sludge will contribute to the development of new technique for producing biodiesel and provide for the operator of wastewater treatment plant with cost-effective technique of reducing the production of excess waste sludge. Congratulations. Rosalina Gonzalez. The impact of her research is very important for the military people because she determined the fate of the mutations constituents of soils and developed a model useful for different explosives at the time of different soils of the world. She will be a faculty member at the Environmental Engineering Department in LaSalle University in Columbia. Laura Black, accompanied by her advisor from Civil Engineering, Earl Lee. She says that every PhD admission letter should come with a health risk warning. Even her dog was questioning her sanity at the end. However, she totally supports, thanks to support of students, faculty, and staff. She is from Texas. She has a sense of humor. She says that Texas isn't that far away, but sometimes considered another country. Sharon Wang, accompanied by her advisor, Earl Lee. Sharon has studied the disruption in supply chain networks during natural disasters and terrorism. Sarah Patterson, civil engineering, accompanied by her advisor, Earl Lee. Teaching her own class, the statics required the most effort and stepping the furthest outside of her comfort zone. She has had an excellent support system. She was lucky enough to have support from family and friends who helped her through her research, teaching, and developing skills for a successful career in engineering. Ya Adu Gamfi, civil engineering, accompanied by his advisor, Neil Okonkine. He has a postdoc at the University of Virginia, and he says that being a graduate student has developed his physical, mental, and spiritual powers. His mother and father are here from Ghana to attend this event. Mariam Akhavan, civil engineering, with her advisor, Paul Imhoff. The impact of her research will help environmental regulators to better set policies to protect groundwater from contamination. She has a postdoc position at EPA Office of Water in Washington, D.C. Susan Brink, accompanied by her advisor from civil engineering, Rachel Davidson. Looking back over the past 6 years of graduate school, she sees that she has grown and learned so much personally and professionally. In the process, she hopes that she has helped to make just a little bit easier to measure earthquake risk and thus help to make the world a safer place. Yuzhen Peng, civil engineering, Rachel Davidson, his work will help to improve current regional natural disaster management system by involving government, insurance companies, and homeowners into one system and considering both insurance purchasing and retrofit implementation as loss reduction strategies in disasters. Seiken Ramanan, civil engineering, accompanied by Sue McNeil. She said the first year what she needed to learn was how to study efficiently. That is, how to deal with no note but all PowerPoint courses. Her mother has traveled from Iran halfway around the world to be here today. Stefan Gaida, chemical engineering, with his professor, Alphystorius Pasatokis. The research has and will be focused on the development of microbes to create sustainable as well more environmentally friendly processes to produce chemicals as well as fuels called biofuels. He is planning to go back to Germany and find a stimulating job there to develop his further scientific career. His family is here from Germany today. Vinette Chaudhary. Vinette was the first in his group to start research on biomass conversion to furan derivatives. It took more than a year to just set up the lab for modeling and simulations. He said he worked nearly 7 days a week with a complete focus on research, forgetting everything else in life for the last few years. He has received appointment in ExxonMobil Research in New Jersey, where he'll be able to continue his research. His parents from India are here today. Wu Sakan, chemical engineering, with his advisor. When he started graduate school, he was 38 years old and a father of 2 elementary school children. Even if the circumstances on him were challenging and it demanded enormous responsibilities, it was really pleased to endure and learn at UD. He deeply appreciates chemical engineering facilities. He is going to continue as a postdoctoral associate in chemical engineering at MIT, Massachusetts of Technology, this summer. Scott Crown, accompanied by his advisor, Majek Antowitz. He's going to be working as a metabolic engineering scientist, a biotech company based in Englewood, Colorado. It focuses on the development of advanced biofuel called isobutanol. He wants to acknowledge his advisor for the great mentorship and inspiration, and also helping to facilitate his long-distance relationship with his fiancée.
Zhang Jie Wei, chemical engineering, accompanied by Norman Wagner. She's coming from Korea, joining doctoral studies. The first year was very challenging for her because classes she had taken in Korea were not in line with the courses here, so she had to work hard and learn very fast. She has done well, and she is going to be a postdoctoral researcher at the Air Force Research Laboratory in Dayton, Ohio. Carrie Street, accompanied by Norman Wagner. Her research provided greater understanding of consumer products with crystalline structural components. She works as a materials engineer in the Corporate Materials Science Research Group as Valspar in Minneapolis, Minnesota, with physical and thermal characterization of paints and coatings. Her parents, too, traveled here today from Colorado. Jungmin King, chemical engineering, accompanied by Norman Wagner. Jungmin says everyone is working on some of the toughest problems on the planet. Becoming an expert at a subject takes time and perspiration, lots of it. His research will have an impact on estimating phase stability of many pharmaceutical, personal care, and food products to allow them to have a longer shelf life. He has a position with PepsiCo and will be working on focusing on healthier foods for people that have less sugar and oil. Bing Liu, chemical engineering, accompanied by Wilfred Chen. Bing's area of study is in computer systems and networks. It's a different person. Luis Lopez Gutierrez, with his advisor, Jingjae Yu. During my PhD studies, he developed multiple systems and algorithms to advance research in computer graphic, plant, and life sciences. It was a multidisciplinary project where he learned to see problems from different perspectives and to find non-conventional solutions to problems in different research areas. He now is a senior software developer engineer at Advanced Micro Devices. John Yu, accompanied by his advisor, computer science. Interestingly, he says, hairstyles play a critical role in producing realistic-looking human characters in computer games and feature films. He's developed a new approach to enable the user to create a wide variety of complex hairstyles with a much lower workload. Right. Nasif Ikiz, computer science, accompanied by his advisor, Paul Amer. As a doctoral student, he said he faced many challenging times, but it makes the accomplishment even more valuable. Without even realizing it, his life has changed for the better as he's faced to overcome these challenges and those around him. He gives great thanks to UD and Dr. Amer for giving him this wonderful opportunity. He's focused his research on improving the Internet's reliable transport protocols. His parents are from Turkey here today. Milya Janduda, electrical engineering, accompanied by his advisor, Mark Mirosnik. He says major obstacles, the PhD qualifiers, has paid off as he is now a senior process engineer at Intel Corporation in Portland, Oregon. One of the things he says his advisor said a lot was this: there is no prize to reinventing the wheel. Richard Volmerhausen, electrical engineering, also accompanied by Dr. Mirosnik. Richard's advice concerning doctoral education is, do it when you are young. He hopes that his research leads to a factor of 4 to increase in the visual range for night vision devices. Ryan Van Antwerp, electrical engineering, accompanied by his advisor, Chase Cotton. He enjoyed being a TA for senior electrical and computer engineering students. Being able to help undergraduate students learn was incredibly rewarding. His research was in novel methods of detecting and preventing computer viruses. The impact of his research is that antivirus software may be more effective in the future due to his new techniques. He has accepted a position with Comcast corporate headquarters in Philadelphia. By the way, his older brother earned his doctorate last week, May 18th. Elkin Garcia, electrical engineering, accompanied by Gong Gao.
During his journey, he also acquired technical expertise, but he also was able to enrich his experience working with people from different parts of the world and understanding other cultures. It was hard in the beginning for him to be so far from home, but he met many friends here, and the distance was never an obstacle to feel the support of his family. Perseverance and hard work are the keys for success, but the love of our profession and support of our beloveds are the key for his happiness. Jürgen Rizuka, electrical engineering, accompanied by Dr. Gao. During his time at UD, he had numerous opportunities to interact on both social and professional levels with people from an array of cultural and ethnic backgrounds. This exposure to new cultures helped to broaden his awareness and heighten his appreciation of the diverse group that make up a global community with which he will partner and serve as he prepares to enter the workforce. Jean Taoju, accompanied by Leonard Zemini, has accepted an offer from InterDigital in San Diego, which is a wireless company focusing on the research and development of mobile devices, networks, and services. His parents are here from China to attend this event. Gubong Lim, electrical engineering, accompanied by Leonard Zemini. As a doctoral student, he's been conducting research in the area of wireless communications. Nowadays, he says, wireless communications is everywhere, so my daily life always inspires my research. Zhengzi Zhang, electrical engineering, accompanied by his advisor, Leonard Zemini. Zhengzi comments that her 4-year experience as a doctoral student brings her a lot. There are 3 points: critical thinking, continuous learning is very helpful for research, communication with mentor and students, and always be positive. Also, she said she's learned that over the last few years that finished is better than perfect. Parents are here from China. Kenneth Schmieder, electrical engineering, accompanied by Keith Goosen. The most meaningful part of his journey for Kenneth has been the friendships he has forged along the way. His research was with a highly collaborative initiative, while many obstacles have been overwhelming, but if approached individually, could be resolved only by working together and maintaining a high level of communication. His research aims to develop solar cells capable of far higher performance than traditional silicon devices without increasing the cost. Fan Shu, accompanied by Keith Goosen. During the PhD, although long and challenging and frustrating, it has been the most rewarding journey in his life. Don't be afraid to share the problems with your advisors. He said you can always discuss with your professors and peers whose expertise is related to your research. His parents are here today, or his mother is here today from China. Rui Hu, electrical engineering, accompanied by his advisor, Carl Steiner. His research helped the National Capital Area Medical Simulation Center to further improve the head trauma simulator. Their simulator should be benefiting the Army medical students now. Dr. Barner and Dr. Steiner constantly supported him with funding and proper supervision, and wants to let them know that they invited them to their home for Thanksgiving, and that helped me to feel the warmth in a cold autumn. Sanjay Gopal, engineer from Energy and Environmental Policy. Sanjay Gopal says that he, in academics, it was his choice, but he's more of a person with an activist zeal. Research is a part of both his academics as well as activism. However, the systematic approach of arguing, discussing, exploring, and analyzing are what he has learned as a part of this doctoral journey. It's remarkably meaningful and unique for him. He will be returning to India in just a couple of days with his wife and daughter who are here, as he has a faculty position in India. Hannah Kim, Environmental and Energy Policy. She participated in a very challenging research project with a team of students who put a great deal of time to develop a model, frequently staying up all night. When they got to the resolution and submitted the final report, she will never forget that moment. Her study needed comprehensive data. Sorting data was incredibly time-consuming. There was no way but spend more time to solve the situation. Zhen Tian, studying as a PhD student in energy and environmental policy has been a very rewarding experience for him, and he's grateful for all the support that he's received in the department and from his friends. Zhao Shen, mechanical engineering, accompanied by his advisor, Sunil Agarwal. Xi's research on robotic training devices significantly will improve the quality of life of patients with disabilities, especially the development of children with special needs. He has a position as a senior robotic engine systems engineer at Energid Technologies. His parents are here from China. Zhang Zhang, mechanical engineering, advised by Sunil Agrawal. He said to enjoy your time. His advice to everyone at UD is wonderful. Take more strolls down Main Street, walk around the campus, because he will always miss the beautiful campus and the quiet, neat, and relaxing town that he started working in a place where half of the year is in the winter season from his home. Congratulations to him. Jonathan Boyle, material science and engineering, accompanied by his advisor, William Schaffarman. His research is focused on increasing the efficiency of solar cell technology in order to help supply growing global energy demands.
Good evening. I'm Kathy Matt. I'm Dean of the College of Health Sciences. And I would like to congratulate all of the students receiving their doctoral degrees this evening, as well as their families and friends. It sincerely is a wonderful accomplishment. It will change your life, and it'll change the lives of the people around you. In the graduate programs in the College of Health Sciences, we seek to engage students in research and training that results in innovations in practice based on strong scientific data. We are on a mission of translation to collapse the time between discovery and delivery so that applications can impact people's lives as quickly as possible. The College of Health Sciences has 4 doctoral degree programs, one being the doctorate in physical therapy, and those students receive their degrees in January. We have 3 very new PhD programs. We have the only PhD program in the state of Delaware in nursing. We have a new applied physiology degree, PhD, and an interdisciplinary medical science PhD program, which started last year. So this evening, we only have 2 students receiving a degree. One student is receiving a degree in the Applied Physiology program, and so this is the first student to graduate in this program. This student has done their work in the area of cardiovascular disease and renal physiology. Additionally, we have a student graduating with an expertise in stroke rehabilitation and movement control in our Biomes program. This is our biomechanics and movement science program, which is a very interesting program because it's interdisciplinary, and that means it's across 3 colleges: the College of Engineering, the College of Arts and Sciences, and the College of Health Sciences. So it's ranked by the National Research Council as one of the top graduate programs in the college. Would the students in the College of Health Sciences please come forward to receive your degrees? President Harker, I present those students to you.
Jennifer DeMont, accompanied by her advisor, David Edwards. Her research led to the slowing of renal disease progression and hopes to decrease the prevalence of cardiovascular disease and chronic kidney disease. She has accepted a postdoctoral fellowship at Tufts Medical Center in Boston, Massachusetts. Gentali Guerra, completing a PhD in biomechanics and movement science. The knowledge that she has gained from her doctoral work will enhance her knowledge about the motor control deficits in post-stroke survivors and will contribute towards improving student individuals for improved rehabilitation. She is a postdoctoral research at the Oregon Health Sciences University in Portland, Oregon. I have one last student to recognize this evening, and it is Brian Pitt. Brian Pitt lost his fight with cancer in March and was unable to complete his degree. Brian Pitt was a strong, independent scholar who read widely, thought about what he read, and was willing to defend what he thought. Instructors who experienced his enthusiastic engagement with ideas felt that he had a tremendous promise, not just for having a successful career, but for enriching the larger debate about political and social issues. Would those members hear from his relationship, Deborah Reed, a close family friend, a fellow classmate, Brian Starks, and Dr. Margaret Anderson from the Sociology Department, please stand, as we want here to acknowledge Brian's accomplishments. Thank you very much on behalf of Brian.
Before we conclude this ceremony, there are a few housekeeping issues. First, a reminder, graduates are to arrive at commencement tomorrow morning by 8 o'clock, rain or shine. Second, I'd like to take the opportunity to thank the staff of the Graduate and Professional Education Office. The staff and the graduate students spent an awful lot of time putting this ceremony together, and they've done a wonderful job. So thank you, Mary and staff. Finally, following the singing of the alma mater by Sherry Feldman, I ask the guests to remain seated while a platform group and graduates proceed to the back of the tent for a reception and light refreshments. Graduates, you have one more requirement. This is not a solo. The lyrics are contained on your program. Please join Sherry Feldman in singing the alma mater. Thank you and good evening.